Hello everybody, welcome to Reacting Reddit, where humans react and respond to stuff on Reddit. Today, we're gonna be talking about this famous streamer who there's talk of cheating, but he's saying he's not cheating, and a lot of people are saying he is cheating. And I don't know what he's doing. I'm not gonna act like I do know, but I'm gonna look at and respond to the reactions to a document that he wrote. He wrote this like 10-page essay about the reasons that he wouldn't cheat. He went into a lot of detail about it, and it was a while ago actually. It was like 2 months ago that he published that, or at least that I saw that the thing I was looking at was posting it. So that was quite an interesting read. He really goes very into detail, and he's either like the kind of person who doesn't give a hoot and will just lie and really cover it up or convince themselves, or he actually is telling the truth. Like his argument, at least my perception of his argument, before I read too many of these comments and become more biased, is that like when you're streaming, especially if you're making content all the time, like imagine you're one of these crazy popular streamers and you post an hour of content every single day. Then in a year, that's like 300 something hours, right? And then say you do it for 4 years, that's over 1,000 hours of things happening, right? And let's say there's a moment where something statistical can happen every second, right? In a video game, like every time you're doing anything, every movement, every time somebody passes you, there's actually way more stuff than that happening. But let's say that something significant is happening every second, right? You have so many rolls of that dice that inevitably miraculous or seemingly unexplainable things do like happen. They're just really unlikely to happen, but they do happen. And you can look at like history in games and find times where like something was in the right place at the right time and they unknowingly like did a glitch that they didn't even know about that nobody could replicate. Like stuff like that happens. And I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying that if you're really trying to understand this, you should really understand the points of both sides and then kind of come to your own opinion. So that's what we're really trying to go with here. Well, I'm assuming these could all be damning responses, or maybe they're kind of even. I hope to see responses from both sides. First reply is trying to TLDR for people who don't want to read it all. The long report he wrote, the 10-page thing. Dream doesn't see a reason for him to even risk his reputation cheating, since he is very popular and speed running is not his main thing anyway. He explains why it would be very unlikely that he cheated this specific way. He explains how he believes that data was kind of cherry-picked. So this, of course, let's try and think of if he's either lying or if it's true. Because if he's lying, what's the psychology behind this? Well, you can use that argument. That argument's actually really weak because it can be used both ways. So like, what's the argument? The argument is that there's no reason for him to cheat because he's really popular and those videos aren't the ones he really cares about. They're not the ones that get the most viewership. They're not his most important videos, right? So he's saying he views that as a minor thing. And the problem with that argument is that he's just arbitrarily saying that that's a reason to not cheat, but you could switch the coin around and say that's a reason to cheat because you don't care about the less valuable content that less people watch, so you don't hold yourself to the same standard. Like, you could really just word that any way you want. So I wouldn't say that that helps his argument. It's not an effective, like, way to counter the people who don't trust you. Like, it's kind of political, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I do think that it's possible for, if you play enough, crazy stuff happens to you, and people will witness that and think that you're cheating, even if reality is, if you play enough, eventually you get into weird situations that are really unlikely. And it's like, the chance of you winning the lottery is impossible, almost impossible, right? It's not going to happen. Yet, you can hold a lottery and know exactly who wins it, you can guarantee there's a winner, right? So a lot of things in life are like that. Like if you flip around the circumstance a little bit, it goes from impossible to totally possible, right? So you do have to, be careful. Let's see what other people have to say. Hey, all right. This is an epic post by EolaTurtle. Okay, let's look at this from a psychological perspective. Why don't people cheat? Why do they work really hard at something for hours, way past it being fun? Recognition? Yeah, but what else? Determination, drive, moral core? If people are accusing you of cheating, they think you did it for some kind of recognition. So when drafting your response, how do you show them why you wouldn't cheat? You explain your determination, drive, and moral core. Because in the end, those are what matters the most, right? Okay, so you didn't cheat, and no one cares about your moral core. What's the next step? Well, if you did it once, just do it again. I mean, while luck had something to do with it, that's not the only thing you were depending on, right? Viewers aren't here to watch you win an RNG game. Speedrunning is about skills and strategy. But seriously, it's not your thing. You're rusty and slow now. Well, you're popular, right? You've got all the views, you know what works. So make this a thing. Promote yourself working to beat your personal best. Get speedrunners in the community to talk on your channel. Talk about you on their channel. Promote spoiler speedrunners with close personal bests and offer to do a live stream competition. Hey, you're a modder, more than a speedrunner. Build or showcase mods that reduce run times. Made it fun or silly. You can even show how to build a mod to affect the RNG of a specific item. Or you could copy paste the cheaters, get denial letter, explaining why you don't crave recognition after literally making it your job. How, after the fact you discovered it, wasn't as popular as you initially thought it would be. And how it only looks like that because they don't understand how it works, and that it's totally biased against you, and really all their fault for making you look totally guilty. Then move on to not wanting more recognition or popularity, while asking with a completely straight face for them to like, comment, and subscribe. Well, this guy definitely thinks the dude is cheating. I don't feel convinced reading that, though. There's a lot of bitterness and resentfulness from viewers of YouTube towards YouTube content creators. I'm not saying there's not love too, because there totally is, but in a lot of ways, content creators don't understand all their viewers, and viewers often, very often, don't understand the content creators. There's often gaps in like communication, and I definitely think this kind of situation is, because this person is kind of just really going on in detail, giving this guy crap about being a streamer, and pointing out that it's you can't say as a streamer that you don't want recognition. But that's dumb logic, because by that logic, if that's true, that means all people who seek recognition are guilty, which is that's why I don't think that any of this really is, this doesn't aid the case that he's trying to say this person is a liar. It just is a very opinionated response with some resentment towards streamers built in about him saying that he wouldn't want it for recognition. And here's the thing, this guy could be right. The guy could have lied. There are plenty of people who will just they will lie to themselves. They'll know something's not true in the beginning and then they forget. That's and don't act like you've never done that. There's little things that to you, right now, you'd probably be like, oh, I don't lie. You get defensive and think about that. But there's things that other people would perceive as you doing that are lying, because there's things you don't care about at all that they care a lot about. And there's things you care a lot about that they don't give a crap about. And this is the reality of people, right? So, well, let's see what someone else has to say. Whoa! This is super epic post. and it's by chinosstan Smiths. All right. Apparently, this person is studying statistics in university, and here's his thoughts. I find it odd that he claims he doesn't know stats and then tries to prove his claim with stats, but I don't blame him, whatever. Too long, didn't read. Dream doesn't understand statistic, random sampling, or binomial distribution. His data arguments don't make any sense and amount to nothing, but his misuse of data holds true, ironically. Data 6.9. What I'm getting is that Dream claims when a viewer decided to sample his data, this includes some bias, which is cherry picking and thus a logical fallacy. Okay, although this can be touted as a random set of data, it most definitely is not. There are 5 other 1.16 streams that I streamed on Twitch that can be rummaged through that are not included in the data, and there are also thousands of offline runs that I've done myself that also have data. On top of that, again, the fact that I got very lucky means that I trade less, which means that the sample size itself will be forcibly smaller. This, all-inclusive, is what is called sampling bias. Although the data may appear to be unbiased due to the fact that it's okay, these are quotes from the streamer, by the way. Although the data may appear to be unbiased due to the fact that it's my most recent, specifically 1.16 streams, it isn't. The way it is collected and the why it was collected makes it significantly biased sampling. Dream's use of sampling bias here is incorrect and doesn't hold weight, from Scholarpedia. Sampling bias means that the samples of a stochastic variable that are collected to determine its distribution are selected incorrectly and do not represent the true distribution because of non-random reasons. A viewer deciding to observe this run does not change the true distribution probability of getting a pearl. Dream's chance of getting a pearl does not change because a viewer decides to watch. So that is true, but also there are ways, like, humans are really sketchy. Like, most of us, if we create content or share things in any way, a part of us will have a voice in our head of a judgment or of a way we need to change or influence or change the numbers and that kind of thing. And you can tell yourself that you would never do such a thing, but the reality is most people do exaggerate. It's not a matter of like, oh, people who don't exaggerate do exaggerate. They just exaggerate relatively way less than people who exaggerate a lot, but they still exaggerate. Everybody exaggerates, and you should kind of expect that, right? So there is chance of error in data like this for drop rates when you keep in mind that individuals uploading content aren't going to be as incentivized to upload the content if nothing interesting happened. So it's true that, yeah, somebody watching that event happen in the game doesn't change the chance of it happening. That's absolutely true. But if you're pulling your data from videos that people have shared, people are naturally inclined to share more videos where something dropped than videos where nothing dropped. That's kind of what people will do. So it's important to not underestimate how little things like that early in the process can cause discrepancies in data, because humans tend to really muck everything up. We view ourselves as very logical, but we're really not logical at all. We follow a logic that is unique to each of us. Like, you can know a person and predict their actions through their logical pattern that's unique to them, but it's not the same as other humans, right? Like, you don't know what I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do, but you know what you're going to wake up tomorrow and do, and maybe somebody you care about. You might guess I'm going to eat breakfast, or maybe you think I'm going to skip breakfast, but you really don't know anything about that, right? So it's complex. Let's keep at this long, intricate. Okay. I'm not going to read all this. This guy's talking about how... Let's see if there's a response to that. Here's a response to that. Let's sum it. chinosstan Smiths replied to that very long thing, saying, okay, now my subjective thoughts. I'm a Dream fan, but it seems pretty clear that he's trying to mislead his audience. Such a massive misunderstanding of stats when he supposedly consulted with someone who shows stats is very, very suspicious. Additionally, multiple needless calls to authority really ring my bell. I was always a bit skeptical about him, but they were always really entertaining. Shame he had to resort to shitty stats. The statistical bias arguments Dream makes are totally nonsensical. The data used was correct, and there isn't any room for bias that would help Dream. If anything, the data could only get worse if it turns out there were unaccounted for pearls. It's funny how into this people get, you know? Like, this is about pearls in a game. Isn't that crazy? I feel like the Minecraft community needs an official speedrun mod or something, which ensures that people don't cheat somehow. Maybe by pulling an end screen on victory, pulling up all types of relevant statistics and memory readings and the like. I can't imagine the stress of having to verify random seed runs. Dang. Yeah, especially a game like Minecraft. Minecraft is arguably probably one of the easiest games to modify because it's not like, okay, a game like The Last of Us is static. It is a defined storyline where things happen in a certain order. And you can modify individual things and you can move the place of things around, but it doesn't create itself, right? Whereas Minecraft, when you first run it, is a tiny file that then creates worlds. So it already is creating stuff, and it would be quite easy to tweak it in a way where, you know, things are running better for you, or you increase drop rates for something. That's totally doable, right? And so the arguments that this guy is using something like that, where he has increased the chances of things happening, and when you're competing in speedruns, that's no-go, because, you know, that makes it so that it's like using steroids, basically. Yeah, mods are basically steroids. Yeah, do F-loads of athletes use it? Yeah. Does athletes using it kind of force other athletes to use it as well? Yeah. Do people do it? Yeah. Should they not? Yeah, they're not supposed to. But, I mean, you can live in a world where you tell yourself none of this stuff happens, and occasionally you find the one person who's doing it, but it's probably more common than people realize, given how Minecraft functions as a game. Makes it particularly simple to mess with. A reply to Floppy Disk's comment. There's actually one in development right now regarding an official speedrun mod. It's even mentioned in this write-up that the mods approached him to help with it, but he declined because he didn't actually know how to create mods, just data packs. Alright, this reply to Dream's 10-page reaction by Open Mouth, Open Mind. Hey, there's this really cool program that simulates what the normal non-cheater has to go through to get 41 Pearl trades over the course of 260 or so trades. Unfortunately, the average person has to go through a few billion trades to get the luck that Dream has. By the way, each trial represents 263 trades. Really important to also take note of how many trials go over even 30. Really gives you a sense of how baffling Dream's results are. Dream's defense claims the data collected was biased. I mean, sure, he didn't capture every single run ever streamed, but Shell Guy only collected the data in the first place because he suspected foul play. This isn't a purely random collection of data, but the sample size is large enough and the results are bizarre enough that it doesn't matter. Well, no. You really have to look into it yourself. I'm not really talking to the writer of this, I'm talking to everybody listening to this right now, right? If you want to figure out how you feel about what happens, or what happened, you have to keep in mind that, okay, creators are incentivized to just upload stuff if something interesting happened. So Are these live streams edited at all? You know, are they actual live streams? Are they videos that were uploaded? These are all things you need to ask yourself. Because if you can prove that it's a live stream and he doesn't have a chance to decide to not publish it, then you can start claiming the data in the videos is reliable, right? But really what you would need to challenge and look at if you want to really look at this is you need to look at other streamers who try and do the same things, maybe like 10 different people, and do the same kind of analysis and figure out, okay, yeah, is this an anomaly here? All right, is that anomaly also true in these other situations, or is it not, right? And it sounds like this person's getting at that, right? The comments seem more danging to this guy. This reply by the idiot ninja. The stats paragraph are questionable to say the least, but it shouldn't take away from the rest of his points. The how in particular is pretty compelling. You could come up with some extorted excuses for the why, trying to make your streams more entertaining by making them less reset heavy, but I really don't think he would jump through so many technical hoops for such a marginal gain. Fried Goat says, I think Dream has a decent amount of motive to cheat. He has tweeted about being frustrated with the piglin drops, so it could just make it a more enjoyable run for him. Plus, competition is a strong motivator for a lot of people, and he has the pressure of having 80,000 people watching him. Also, he might have wanted to get a good time or potentially a world record without having to grind for months, which costs him money. I'm not saying that it is an absolute certainty that he cheated, but I think he has just as much motivation, if not more, than many others who have cheated. Yeah, it is. You can't argue that there's not motivation for a person like that to cheat. I mean, as a YouTuber in general, or a streamer, you are inherently motivated to do things that are kind of provocative or controversial, in a way that viewers of content are often surprised by. And that's just because, like, being provocative and standing out sometimes can be better for you. Like, unfortunately, that's the reality. Like, that whole thing, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's true that in the moment you're getting bad publicity, it feels bad. But you only need one person out of 1,000 people who learned you exist to reach out to you and work together and share info, and that's enough to change your life. And never underestimate how powerful just having a conversation with someone can be. It really can kind of next level the perception you have by exposing yourself to other people and their worldviews and their thoughts and all that kind of thing. All right, everybody, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe and comment. If there's something you want me to read, I will give it a shot. Remember, I gotta try and react about half the time, because the goal is to figure out how to monetize these kind of videos. And I can't just be reading stuff verbatim. I just have to respond to everything. So I'm learning as we go here, but if you're interested in also doing this and using this tool, then please reach out to us. We are looking for other content creators who are interested in using a tool that displays stuff on your screen, you record it, and you just read and act and narrate and talk and react and make your content that way. I'm not saying that using this tool is gonna allow you to guaranteed produce monetizable content, because if you just read stuff verbatim, it's not monetizable. But you can use this to make stuff going on in the background and to give yourself something to work with and move on from there. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. Go to our YouTube channel, click on the About page, do the CAPTCHA code, and send us an email saying hello, because we want to have a Zoom call with you. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao.